Fantasy Bros, welcome back to the Fantasy Football Astrology channel. Glad you guys are tuning in. I'm excited to bring this video to you. I wanted to title this video Saving Our Season Part 2. Okay, so I got my board back here as usual. You can see all the different components. There's quite a few things I wanted to touch on. Some last minute moves we can make to shore up our rosters. And how we should be focusing on our team to turn it around into, maybe you're one of the lowest points scored teams in the league, like I am right now, and you need to turn it around. Now is the time to really position ourselves to be one of the best teams in the league. So we got to get on that as early as we can, as often as we can. And so I'm going to break this down. I'm looking into week 5 right now a little bit, okay? So week 5, I notice a lot of people are saying sell Miles Sanders, okay? I'm looking ahead into Miles Sanders' schedule. Week 5, he's got Carolina, then he's got Tampa Bay. But we don't want to sell Miles Sanders until after this week. I'm expecting a big bounce back this week against the 30th ranked rushing defense against Kansas City, and they should have learned their lesson last week. They tried to keep it in the air early against Dallas. I think this week they learned their lesson. They're going to keep things grounded, and they're going to do what works for them. That's the wiser decision over there in Philadelphia. So keep Sanders. I expect a big bounce back from him this week, and then maybe after next week you sell him for a rough couple weeks ahead. Okay, also, Jamison Crowder is coming back from injuries. Guys, Crowder is the type of astrology that I absolutely love. He's a Gemini. Zach Wilson is a Leo, and we've seen this be a very productive combination. You've got Dak Prescott to Amari Cooper is that combination. You got Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson is that combination. So that's what we have there. Also, guys, Deshaun Watson. You might want to go out right now and get Deshaun Watson if he's available, because the trade rumors are absolutely heating up. Okay, Mike Florio, Chris Sims, and I saw this rumor come out on a YouTube channel named Microphone. He does a good job releasing information before it really gets out there. But what they're saying is that the Philadelphia Eagles are ready to pull the trigger to trade for Deshaun Watson. And Watson is getting a little bit of cold feet. But if Watson went to Philadelphia, then absolutely would be an excellent match with Devontae Smith, with Jalen Reagor, with Dallas Goedert. He would have really good astrology in that situation. I also really like his astrology if he were to go to Pittsburgh, okay? So a lot of options, obviously, for Deshaun Watson. I mean, if you could imagine Watson on Pittsburgh with me, guys, wow, that could be a really amazing thing, okay? So moving on, guys, last video I told you my plan A. That's go get Kyler Murray if you can and try to package him and get DeAndre Hopkins as well, because DeAndre Hopkins is really low, and Kyler Murray had a somewhat of a down week. So if you got a decent enough quarterback and another solid piece you could get a Kyler Murray on, Kyler Murray's an absolute cheat code. But if the owner won't make a deal, we can try some other guys. Okay, remember, I'm always trying to get the big names. Those big names, like Josh Allen, they're cheat codes in fantasy. Derrick Henry, especially non-PPR like my league is, absolute cheat code. And so right now I'm in a trade. I'm trying to sell the farm to get my hands on Derrick Henry. So you might consider a Dalvin Cook, but guys, never sell yourself short on who you can get in a trade, okay? So I'm selling Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, and Deebo Samuel to try to get Henry and Aaron Rodgers right now. So I'm trying to do a 4-for-2 package. My team's really deep, and his team doesn't have the depth. So it makes sense for both of us to make the trade. Obviously, in my world, I really want Henry. So, those 40-point weeks that Henry puts up just can save you your week. So it's incredible value that Henry has. I don't even know if fantasy owners truly realize the value that he carries. So try to get your hands on a Henry as well. And also, guys, a trend that I notice year in and year out, guys who have consistent defense, special teams, and kicker performance, they win their weeks. Okay, so let's never sell ourselves short here. I know a lot of guys have dropped the Panthers this week. I went ahead and I picked them up, okay? Something to remember about defenses, they can be a little random at times. You might get a kick return for a touchdown. You might get a pick six, and you might still be able to have a decent week even though they're playing the Cowboys, okay? So I'd rather take the risk on maybe a low week with the Panthers, and they could still have a decent week, and then for the rest of the season, they're going to be really good. And the same thing with the Steelers, guys. People are dropping the Steelers, and they're not really paying attention to what's going on. They've been without T.J. Watt. They've been really banged up, but I fully expect the Steelers, once they get healthy, to bounce back. So try to get your hands on some solid defenses this week. It's a really good week to do it. If you're streaming, the Packers look really good. And also with the kickers, guys, I've already talked about Greg Joseph. It looks like a really good one this year to get your hands on. Young-Ho Koo this week against the Redskins, the Washington football team. I expect Young-Ho Koo to bounce back. And also this McLaughlin in Cleveland hit 2 50-yarders. Man, I love to have my kickers hitting 50-yarders. He seems like he's getting a lot of opportunities. And so that's the type of kicker I like to see as well with that type of offense. With Baker, he's not so cerebral that he's converting everything into touchdowns like Tom Brady. Before I had like a Ryan Suckup, and he's just Tom Brady and Dak Prescott's of the world. They're just too consistent in the red zone for me to actually desire their kicker at this point in the game. So that's what we have with that. Also, guys, we want to be, if we're trying to save our season, we're wanting to be setting ourselves up for a big inheritance. We need to have those big name players. One of my favorite players still available in most people's leagues for the biggest inheritance is Tony Jones Jr. Okay, he has one of the highest PFF grades. He's got very limited work, but for the work he has gotten, he's got a really high grade. If Kamara goes down, I suspect he's going to be the bell cow in New Orleans. So we want to be able to inherit from Tony Jones Jr. Javonte Williams is a really good buy low target right now. He had a really bad yards per carry last week and he fumbled, but there's still a lot of suspicion that he's going to be taking over that backfield. Okay. Also, Jeff Wilson Jr., I'm just throwing Marlon Mack. If you didn't hear it in my other video, you should be having Marlon Mack on your roster if you can find a stash spot. Very likely he gets traded soon, and he probably will end up being a number one back, okay? Jeff Wilson Jr., same kind of situation, especially if your league has an IR spot. You need to be going out there, getting him, putting him in your injured reserve. Some of these names may or may not be obvious to you guys, but I just wanted to give everybody a whole picture here. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and all the best.